And he's now part of that. Oh, oh, and that's something I was supposed to tell you that, Sierra. As creator of nations of black rose. It's cool.
It was faster than I thought.
What time is it?
Secret. I just wanted to jump in and switch over to voiceover because a lot of the footage that's going to be coming up next is of me tattooing. And in the background, there's client conversations or music playing that would get me copyrighted. And as much as I love the sound of the humdrum of the tattoo machine, that's not all the sound that is. So you're stuck with listening to me talk about what's going on in the video. First, I'm printing out my stencil for the things that I wanted to practice. I wanted to practice stippling while my mentor was here because I hadn't done them before. This is one of the pieces that she was working on. She doesn't live in Maryland, so she came out of town for a week. And this is just what I decided to focus on. I'm sure that there's a lot of other things that I could have done while she was here, but I feel like besides continuing to work on line work back then, because this was also back in August, I wanted to figure out, I guess at the time, what my niche was. I can't really say that even now that I'm filming this in November or recording this voiceover in November, that I have a better idea of what my niche is going to be. I do like the illustrative style, but I also have really been enjoying doing decorative and ornamental tattoos, and some of that can include stippling. So I just wanted to see how I felt about stippling in general, and based off of this practice, I realized I actually really do like it. And later on, which is much later because it wasn't until October, I did a stippling tattoo on myself because I also felt like besides practicing it on fake skin, I wanted to do it on myself before I did it on someone else. And I really did like the way that the tattoo came out. And yeah, I'm more than willing and open to doing more stippling tattoos. My booking link is in the bio of my video and in my Instagram bio, TikTok bio, etc. But there's not much else for me to say about what's going on because I really was just practicing tattooing. I was really grateful to have my mentor come and visit and help me learn more about her process. I feel like I got a better idea of what voltage I wanted to use, a better idea of which needles I wanted to use, a better idea of what inks I wanted to use. And I think that those are all the great parts of having a mentor. While in my apprenticeship, I learned basic things like setup, cleanup, how to book clients, how to work on Flash, how to consistently post on social media. It was very like beginner things. And I feel like once I started tattooing, I realized I still had all these other questions like, what do I do when X, Y, and Z happens? And it was really nice to have my mentor there. Like, for example, with this stippling piece, I liked how it looked, but the gradient wasn't like 100% perfect, also because it was my first time doing a stippling tattoo. And she told me I could use a mag to like add some shading, to add some depth. And I was like, oh my God, I never even thought to do that. I didn't even know that that's probably what other tattoo artists are doing too. And I had to tell her I've never used a mag before because I've only ever done line work. And the shading I had done at that point was minimal, so I was able to just do it with a round liner. It wasn't something that I needed a mag for. So that was another thing that we worked on while she was here. I learned how to use a mag, at least a little bit. And overall, I'm just grateful for the experience. I think no matter where I am in my tattoo journey, I always can stand to learn and gain things from other tattoo artists, especially ones that have been doing it for longer than I have. And it just felt really great to also feel inspired because even though she doesn't live in Maryland, every time she is here, she's very booked out. And so even just seeing how your tattooing can translate to other states or countries and having the ability to travel as a tattoo artist. There was just so many things that were inspirational about this time, and I really recommend getting a mentor. It might not always be possible to get a tattoo apprenticeship. I know not everybody wants a tattoo apprenticeship, and mentor, I feel like, can be a loose word, but even just finding community within the tattoo community and figuring out who you can ask questions and who's willing to help you or show you things, I think goes a long way. I think that this is one of those careers where you really should learn from other people. And of course, there are things you can figure out on your own, but it oftentimes takes a lot longer to figure out what you're doing by yourself versus when you have someone that you can just ask or have multiple people that you can ask. So I just wanted to come on here and share that bit of information to let you guys know, at least back then, what was going on in my, I don't want to call it apprenticeship, menteeship relationship. I know that some of you have been curious about things since I quit my tattoo apprenticeship back in March, and I had told you guys that I did get a new mentor, and that relationship is still going strong, and I'll hopefully be seeing her again soon. But like I said, she doesn't live here, so I might be going to visit her next. Who knows? Maybe she'll come back to my studio. Who knows? But this was literally the first month that I had opened my studio. So it also just felt great to be able to have her there. And not that I'm at the place of having a guest artist necessarily, but that's kind of what it was. And so I feel like that was also a really good experience of seeing what it was like to have someone else in my tattoo space and what sharing that space looked like, especially when we both had clients at the same time, because I did have 2 clients that weekend. So all things that I learned just via being there. And I'm grateful that I was able to have that time to sit and learn from somebody else who's been tattooing longer than me and seeing what their process is and seeing what it would be like to work with other people. Because when you do have your own private studio, you're not necessarily around other tattoo artists unless your private studio is around other tattoo artists. And so I feel like that's one of the things that I've been missing when it comes to having a private studio. Even my apprenticeship, my old mentor, she had a private studio. So I've never really worked in like a walk-in studio surrounded by other artists. And it is something now that I have a private studio that I would consider. I'm not certain that that's what I'm going to do because I also do enjoy my own space and being able to work on my own time. And I enjoy being my own boss, having my own schedule, setting my own prices, things like that. And I know that there are certain freedoms and liberties that are taken away when you work in a studio, especially for someone else. But I also know it depends on the studio you're working in. So I feel like it's just things that I'm thinking about. And maybe if you're a tattoo artist, it's something you're thinking about, whether you want to have a private studio or whether you want to work in a studio with other tattoo artists. I think the main benefit that I see is that you have a sense of community and you have these people that you can talk to while you're tattooing or drawing or practicing. You have these people you can ask for help or ask questions with. At one point, while my mentor was here, she had me draw something for her while she was tattooing another client because she didn't think she was going to have enough time to draw a piece for a client that was coming in later. So even just small things like that, I don't know. I'm rambling now though, so I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys watch the rest of the video, and I hope you enjoy watching scenes of us tattooing. Dang, this is really not coming off.
It's coming through this time. It was, yeah, it was a little extra. Last month. Business popping up. Okay, for both?